to-read list. Let's go ahead and get started.
Info Nuggets with Amy. Time to go on a journey. So join her to learn online. Free knowledge if you have the time. Ebooks to genealogy. So visit SJC Library.
Hey, how are y'all doing this Friday? So I am really excited because it's the summer, and for me, the summer means it's time for summer reading. I'm definitely an adult now, but I still love the idea of having my reading objectives for the summer and just having fun with it. So today we're going to talk about all of the different tools that are available to you to help you manage your to-read list, and how to keep track of things that you've already read. Because there's nothing worse than picking up a book and getting like half a chapter in only to realize, ooh, I've read this before, haven't I? So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of tools to make sure that does not happen again. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the basic stuff. We have some hidden tools within our card catalog that most people don't know about. So I'm going to show you how to make your own lists and also how to kind of tell the library when you want the books instead of having all of the books come in at the same time. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at the library's website, which is sjcpls.org. Once here, again, sjcpls.org. From here, we're going to go to the card catalog, which is under Explore, and then we'll click on Catalog. And in order to access the really good features, we need to go ahead and click up there where it says Log In. So we can go ahead and type in our library card number. Some people, if you're doing this for the first time where you haven't logged into your account before, they're a little confused by the PIN. They don't remember having a PIN. Your PIN is the last 4 digits of your phone number. So go ahead and type that in with your library card number, no spaces, and then your PIN, which is the last 4 of your telephone number. So here within the library catalog, once we're logged in, we can go ahead and click on My Account, and it's going to give us some information about what we presently have checked out. Gives me my titles, when they're due. I have the option to go ahead and renew something if I want to. It also tells me if there's anything ready for me to pick up, and I do have a couple of books waiting for me. I'm really excited to go back to the library to get those. It tells you if you have fines. It happens to the best of us, even me. I have no excuse. I've got 50 cents in fines right now. But what we also have is the ability to suspend holds. So Murphy's Law says that if you have 10 books on hold and you've been waiting for them for a couple of months because they're really popular and there's a waiting list, the second that you go out of town for like a 1-week vacation, they're all going to show up all at once while you're gone, and you won't have time to pick them up. That's Murphy's Law. That's how it works. We have the ability within the catalog to go ahead and suspend the hold and tell the library when we're going to be ready to pick them up and to not bring these books in while we're not here. Now, the one thing with suspend hold is we can't do it if they're already waiting for us to pick up. We can only suspend them if they haven't yet arrived. So, for instance, let me go ahead and suspend this Amanda Quick book that I have right here, where I'm checking the box next to the picture of the cover, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on Suspend Hold. And I'm going to say, I don't really want this book until maybe the end of August, because this is something that you don't necessarily just have to do if you're on vacation. You can stagger your books out for an entire year if you want to, where if you know you're going to be busy for a particular month and you don't want any books then, you can say, I don't want this book until like August. That's fine. And then you can go ahead and click on Suspend. So what this will do is it'll keep you on the waiting list, but it won't actually come into the library until the end, until the end of August. And if you ever want to change that, you can click the box next to the cover and cancel your hold suspension if you change your mind. So I know a lot of our patrons, they definitely take advantage of that, where they will go ahead and just, they'll have batches like their entire month's worth of reading, they'll sort of stagger it out throughout the entire year, and then the books come in when they want them to at a particular time. It's a very useful feature. The other thing I like about our catalog is the ability to create our own lists. If you're like me, you come across books all the time that sound really good, but you know you have absolutely no time to read it right now, and you want to put it on a to-read list. There's a built-in feature under My Lists where you can go ahead and create as many lists as you would like. There is a default temporary list. I advise against using this one, only because temporary is exactly what it sounds like. This list is only going to last for a day, if that, so that the next time you come in, it won't be there. Instead, you want to click these little add list buttons over here, and you can create your own list. So, for instance, lately the genre that I'm really into, I call it the Victorian lady detective genre, where it's, this average lady who comes across a body during Victorian times and she has to solve the murder. I love that stuff. I could eat that with a spoon. So I have my Victorian lady detective subjects. I also have historic fiction and just every other kind of subject or genre that I really like. So as I come across a book that I want to read, but I just don't have time at the moment to read it, I add it to this list. And what we can also do as lists start to get a little bigger, for instance, my general nonfiction list right here, it's up to 28 titles. I can go ahead and subdivide that if I wanted to. So, for instance, I have a couple of books on here. A common theme is just history. So if I wanted to, I could create a whole new list, history nonfiction. Click on create. And then from here, my general nonfiction list that has slowly been growing over time is I can go ahead and create and click on the ones that are historic nonfiction. That was one. Let's see here. That's one. That's one. There's more than I thought. This is one. Okay, so we have quite a few in here where I've selected all of these, and now here under select an action up at the top, I can click on move, and I can move all of those now to my history nonfiction list. So it takes them out of general nonfiction, and now it's starting to populate that new list. So it's very customizable. You can change it around whenever you want. You can create new lists whenever you want, and you can delete them whenever you want. What's also cool is once you are ready for these titles, you can just go ahead and click and say, now I want to go ahead and place the holds on all of them all at once. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be there all at once, because if you click on a title, you still have to be aware of if it's presently checked in or checked out. Like if they're all checked out, it's going to take a while for it to come in. But you can go ahead and place those holds and say, okay, I'm ready for them. Go ahead and send them to me now if you want. So those are two cool features within the library catalog that I love and that I absolutely take advantage of when I am going through all of the books that I want to read. Another cool thing that we have, let me get to the same place. Again, this is under, let's see here, it was under Explore, Catalog. From our main catalog page, we have a link over here to Library Elf. Right now this service is temporarily suspended because of the rapid changes that are happening in regards to COVID-19, and that our hours aren't really stable right now. Due dates are changing. There's a bunch of stuff going on. So since this is a third-party service, there's a delay between what our catalog will say and according to what gets into Library Elf. So right now this service is paused, but under normal circumstances, this is also a great way of keeping track of your different materials. It will go ahead and send you alerts before things are due, so you can avoid things like 50-cent fines or all of that. I'm trying to log in really quick so you can see, but typing and talking at the same time isn't my thing. So it will show you normally under normal circumstances what you presently have checked out, what they're due, and you can set up your alerts so you will automatically get an email before the items are due instead of afterwards. So again, this is something to be aware of under normal circumstances. Right now it's temporarily disabled, but we're hoping to get that back up pretty soon. So other things, if you use Chrome as a browser within your desktop or laptop environment that you have, there is a fantastic extension out there that I'd like everyone to know about called Library Extension. What this does is whenever you're on websites such as Amazon, Barnes & Noble, GoodReads, it will automatically tell you if the book that you're looking for is available at your local library. So you don't have to have multiple screens up trying to figure out, ooh, there's this really cool book. I wonder if the library has it. It will tell you right there. So from your Chrome web store, now again, this is only if you're using Chrome as your browser, do a search for Library Extension, and you'll bring this up. And let's see here, it'll give you a couple of more details. And you'll see, and I'll show it to you in a moment live, what it looks like, where when you have a book pulled up, it just automatically pops up your local library if they have a copy available on the shelf. And within your little Chrome extensions that you have up here, it's going to be the one that looks like a little stack of books. So you just want to make sure that it's activated. So let me show you what that looks like in action. For instance, earlier today I was looking for this book. It's a good nonfiction book about the different protests that happened in St. Augustine in 1964 for civil rights. And here I am on Amazon, and it automatically told me right up here that yes, the St. Johns County Public Library does have it, and there's 2 copies available. So I can go ahead, click on the title right here within Amazon, and it will bring me to the library's page for this item. And if I wanted to, if I don't have time to read it, I know I want to read it, but I can't do it right now. Over here under Select an Action, I can add it to my to read list by clicking there. And I have a St. Augustine list already, so I can just go ahead and click on Add, and it gets put on my to read list. So it's a really handy extension. Again, this only works within Chrome if you're using that browser on a desktop or a laptop environment, but it does make life a lot easier when you're looking for books. If you're thinking about buying something, oh wait a minute, the library has a copy. I can just borrow it from them. Another website that I absolutely love for keeping track of different books is GoodReads.com. I have been using this website personally since 2007. It has just about every feature I've ever wanted in a website that tracks my materials. I've tried some others before that, but some of them had limits, like on how many books you could add, or you had to pay for access. This website, GoodReads, is fantastic. There's no charge to use it, there's no limits on how many books you can add to it, and it's a social website. So if you have any friends who are readers, they can also create accounts, and then you can share with them what books you're reading. Right now, the way that I have this view set up for you guys is it shows what I'm currently reading, and then we have updates. Right now, these are updates from anybody in GoodReads. If you want to, and what I usually do, is I customize it to only the friends and people that I follow, and both their reviews and their updates. So if a friend of mine adds something to her to-read list, it'll show up on there. And I do have a couple of friends who they read very similar topics and subjects to what I read, and they usually have a pretty good idea, pretty good taste for good books. So there's a number of friends where I'll constantly check their own updates to see if I can get any ideas on books that I might want to read. The other nice thing about this is I have a bunch of friends who have vastly different preferences than I do, but it's always eye-opening to see what other people are reading that might be something that I might not normally read. And it's a great way to get ideas just for something else that's, kind of stretches your boundaries a little bit. Maybe this is something I might like. And I have found a lot of great authors that way. People I would never normally pick up myself on a bookshelf, but after seeing a friend's review of it, I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty good. I'll give it a try. And you know what? Sometimes they're great. So let's see here, where I was taking a look at currently reading. Let's go ahead and click here on my books. And this is going to take a second. So we have some major categories over here. They call them the bookshelves. There's books that I've read, books that I'm currently reading, books I want to read. Those are the standard statuses that come with GoodReads. It's completely customizable though, so you can create additional categories. So for instance, I have a started but never finished category. I gotta confess, I'm guilty of that. That happens from time to time. And I also have my theater category. All of these are either or statuses, like you can only pick one for each book. This theater one that I've created is simply to designate plays that I've seen in real life. So let me take a quick look and show you what that looks like. So these aren't books that I've read, but these are instead plays that I've gone to, because most plays that you go to they've got a book associated with it. So this is just an easy way for me to keep track of what plays I've seen, when I saw them, if I like them or not, so forth. It's a weird little one-off category that doesn't have much to do with reading. It just happens to be that GoodReads is great for tracking that. But here, for instance, my want to read, my to read list, my 711 item to read list, which I don't think I'm ever going to finish. I've got books again that have been here since 2007. So it starts you off when you added them. If you flip that little thing right there, it'll start with the most recent. So this shows the most recent book that I've added. There's a lot. I don't think I'm ever going to finish my to-read list. That just happens. Currently reading, I tend to have a couple of books going at the same time, just depending on what I'm in the mood for. There's one that I read before I go to bed. There's one that I have just hanging out in the living room. Right now I'm trying to learn how to paint, so I've got this book that I'm going through. So yeah, I usually have a number of to-reads happening at the same time. And then you also have your read category, where you can keep track of all of the different books that you've read. This is the part where it's really useful, where if you're browsing a shelf somewhere and you're like, oh, this looks interesting, double check to make sure you haven't read it already. Save yourself some time. What you can also do with these is create your own genre tags. And this is 100% customizable. You can create as many of these as you want. And you can assign as many of these as you want to a single book. So for instance, let me pull up one that I've recently read. I got into the Maisie Dobbs series. We'll just click on a title, and then we'll go ahead and see. Oh, actually they were right over there. Oh, but wait, look what's happening. Right here in GoodReads, it's trying to remind me, oh yes, there's copies at the St. Johns County Public Library. You can get them there if you want to. That tells me both physical book and ebook format, which is very helpful. But here, this will show the different shelves. I've created a fiction shelf, a history shelf, a library book shelf, and a mystery shelf. So if I ever want to pull up a list of all the mysteries that I've ever read, or all the mysteries that are in my to-read list, I can go ahead and just click on that shelf, and it will bring up all the titles that I have designated as a mystery. This is also great if people ever want suggestions, like, have you read any great mysteries lately? I can be like, yes I have. Let me get that list for you. Here's 130 that I can tell you about. It's useful, because if your memory's like mine, it's not very good. So it's nice to have a place handily available that tracks all this stuff for you. What's also nice about GoodReads is it has a free app, so you can download it right on your phone and you have access to all this information. The app is a little bit more simplified than what you have here on the website. The website is definitely a little bit more in depth. The other thing I love about GoodReads is they have their annual reading challenge. And it's a nice way to kind of motivate yourself to do some more reading, or just to keep track of what you've read. So for instance, so far for 2020, I've read 19 books. Every year I typically challenge myself to do a book a week, 52 books. It's telling me right now I'm going kind of slow. I'm 3 books behind schedule. That happens. But this is a way where I can just keep track of what I've read during the past year. And so far, 19 books. And I've been doing these challenges every year since about 2011. And some of them I've done fantastic. Like 2008 was a banner year for me. My goal was 52 books and I read 96. I got 185% of my reading list done. And then I've had a couple of other years which weren't so good. We're not going to click on those. But GoodReads, it's fantastic for keeping track of what you have read, what you want to read, or what your friends are reading. What I also like on here, community groups. They have some different groups and discussion boards on the website. So if you want to discuss a favorite book with somebody, there's probably a group for that. Or if you're looking for more ideas on what to read, there's also a book for that too. Like we've got Reese's Hello Sunshine book club, the Oprah book club, all sorts of book clubs in here. So that was GoodReads. Now, speaking of reading challenges, the St. Johns County Library this year has subscribed to the ReadSquared service, where we are doing our normal summer reading contests. We're doing them online this year. So let me show you how to get to the ReadSquared website. When you're starting off on our webpage, sjcpls.org, and you scroll down a little bit, you see right here where it says Summer Reading Program. This is for adults, kids, teens, everybody. We're going to click right here on the Summer Reading, and it has the icon here for ReadSquared. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to the library's link for or library access for ReadSquared. There is also an app which is super easy to use. The app is super easy to use, but there's also the website. And so it's taking me directly to the St. Johns County Library's subscription to ReadSquared, which is sjcplsreads.readsquared.com. I'm already presently logged in, so it'll show you get a point for every minute that you've read. We're tracking minutes this year. And our goal, we're pretty ambitious. We want our readers, that's you, to read 1 million minutes this summer. This is adults, kids, teens, all of you. Grand total, we want by the end of the summer, that's the end of June. Nope, that was wrong. The end of July, we want everybody to have read 1 million minutes total. And we're doing pretty good so far. I think we're at like 15,000 and it's only been a couple of days. But what you can do here is track how many minutes that you're reading, and as you progress along throughout the summer, you get different badges. You get entered into prize drawings. We're going to have some really awesome prizes at the end of the summer. I think it's like every 50 minutes that you read, you get an automatic raffle ticket for adults. So from here, so for instance, last night I read some before I went to bed and I forgot to log it because I fell asleep. I can go right here, click on log reading. I read about, I would say it was maybe 35 minutes. The book was House on the Strand, by Daphne du Maurier. Click there. I'm not going to add a book review yet because I haven't finished it, but I can if I want to later on. And I'm going to click on submit. And it's logging my activity, and woohoo, I've just earned 35 points. So I'm already at 19% progress for the summer, and I'm at 185 points. That's exciting. Now, there is another way that you can get points with ReadSquared, is not just by reading books. You can also enter secret codes, and we have secret codes for each of our virtual programs that we're doing this summer. So, just in time, let me show you guys what today's secret code is for watching this program. It is Together05. Together05. Another thing that I really love to use when I am getting low on ideas, let's be honest, 711 books isn't enough for a to-read list. Sometimes I want more. One of the places that I love to go to really get my book wheels kind of turning a little bit, every year there's a website called Pop Sugar. They do what's known as the Pop Sugar Challenge. And whoops. It's the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, where every year they challenge you to read different types of books to really broaden your horizons. And some of them are pretty straightforward, like a book about or by a woman in STEM. Some of them are a little bit more abstract, like a book on a subject you know nothing about, or the first book you touch on a shelf with your eyes closed, or a book with a bird on the cover. So it's extremely flexible. Like, you can really choose anything you want that fits within this category, but it really gets you thinking about trying to find something that fits within that category. And it's a lot of fun. I never have been able to successfully finish the entire challenge, but it kind of gets me outside of my normal comfort zone and try different books that I might not have tried otherwise. And it's just fun to try to find something like a book with an upside down image on the cover. It's great. So if you Google Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, this is probably the page that's going to pop up. And as they note in here, they also have a Pop Sugar book club on Facebook. They do have a group in GoodReads, so you could join them on there. You've got the printable list. Or if you're doing this on Instagram, you can hashtag it and kind of keep up with everybody else. So that was Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. The last website that I'm going to tell you about is fantasticfiction.co.uk or fantasticfiction.com. They both kind of go to the same place. So this is one where you can create an account if you'd like. I haven't done it only because I primarily use this for series lists. I love this website for it. So lately I've been reading Deanna Rayborn. She is very good at the Victorian lady detective genre. Excellent. So here it gives me a little biography about her, but when I scroll down a little bit, it shows all the different series that she's written, and it puts them in order. So if you've ever finished a book and you're like, oh, what was the next one? Or what was that? This one puts them all in order for you. And that is extremely helpful. So this has all of her series, the order that they come in, and if there's any individual standalone novels, those are there also. It also gives if she won any awards, and what I also like is the recommendation portion. Like if she's ever written a blurb that has appeared on another book's or another author's cover, like a recommendation blurb, one of those, all of those books are showing up here. So she's a fantastic author, so of course I'm going to be interested in books that she thinks is fantastic too. And there's a whole bunch of other ideas here for me to read. And sure enough, like half of these are on my to-read list, but I know as soon as I'm done with this program, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of them to it. So that is some of my favorite ways to keep track of all of the books that are out there. And let's be honest, guys, there's a lot of books out there to read. So I wish you luck in keeping track of your own to-read list, and if you're ever looking for some ideas on what you might want to read, come talk to a librarian. Trust me, our lists are long. If you ever need anything, feel free to talk to us, call us up, visit us. Go on our website under Ask a Librarian. We have a chat, email, text service. If you have questions, contact us. We love to talk about books. So thank you guys very much, and have a great summer, and enjoy the summer reading. Thanks.